All right. Birmingham won last night, lad. What's the score? 2-0.
I just kissed the lead, mate.
2-0, wasn't it?
The Japanese lad.
Yeah, I saw it actually. Yeah, so it was a good goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about that today, yeah? You just talk about that?
Alright guys, we'll stick to the usual format then, nothing live in the first section, and then we'll move to the section of papers embargoed until 10:30 on Thursday.
You going again? Oh dear.
We'll start with Dan.
Thank you, James. Things I could see.
Yeah, but 40 seconds there.
Team, how are the team looking ahead of Forest? Any injury concerns?
But yeah, probably since the last time I spoke to you before a game, Yannick had a reoccurrence with his ankle on the -1, sort of ruled him out for selection for Southampton. So so that was a bit of a setback for him. So shouldn't rule him out for too long. But it's a bit of a pity because, as I said last week, he got some good minutes with the national team, and it was good to get him back involved. But he had a bit of a setback from when he returned. So but apart from that, we were as we were. Obviously, the guys who've been out for a longer period are getting closer. Pato's been on the grass and been a bit more progressive with his rehab. So he seems to be getting closer. But we're as we were.
In terms of Yannick, are you looking at kind of a few weeks or in terms of...
Oh well, hopefully a bit less. It's something that he has had before. So and he with being an experienced player, he can sort of, he knows his body well and he can manage it as these guys do as they go through their career. So a little bit inconclusive at the moment, but hopefully not too long.
We touched on it just before the back-to-back wins.
Yeah.
What do you think that's done for the squad as a whole in terms of going forward now in this coming?
Yeah, I mean, Southampton, for example. I mean, I'm sure, being 2-0 down, winning 3-2, and scoring in more or less the last kick of the game, I'm sure sort of painted the narrative and the headlines. But apart from a poor start, average at best start, we were the better team, and we played really well in the second half, but we weren't far away from playing well in the first half after that initial start, which is not. I can say it now because we won the game, but when you're 2-0 down, it's obviously something that you got to be careful saying. But we really liked large parts of once the game settled of how we played against Southampton, and that gave us back-to-back wins, which is good. I think it's a good reward for the players first and foremost, because I see how hard they work and I see how committed they are to becoming the team that we want to be in the Premier League. And but there's no better, as I say, reward for that than winning football matches. So to get one at home and one away, Bournemouth, we play good in the first half and show a different side in the second half. Sort of really helped by our supporters get over the line, and then, like I said, the Southampton game, apart from the start, and I keep mentioning that because we have to address everything in the game here. We were more than good for the win. If any over the 90 minutes, if any team deserved to win, it was us, and you could see it as the game was going on, and obviously the main stats and things like that people now look at sort of endorse that as well. So. We feel like we are on the right path. We're on the right journey, and that's including the work ethic and the commitment. There's obviously, ideas of how we want the team to play, but it's also how we want to be together, how we want to work, and we've shown great signs of resilience and comeback, and all of these things are important in becoming a rounded team, and is what we want to be. So. We can't wait for Friday now. We're obviously playing Forest, and it's a local game, but we just sort of so ingrained with our journey and our progress, and I'm looking forward to progressing again and hopefully making it 3 wins in a row.
Looking at Forest, of course, the club you know well, but also players you know well. What have you made of their start to the season so far, and what do you think's been the key to their improvement so far?
Well, we just analyse, every opponent in terms of how we feel that we can play in the game. So our focus really have been on us in terms of, especially being at home. I mean, we want it to be away as well, but we're at home on Friday, and we're really looking at our game and how we can implement our ideas. And every Premier League team you come up against have strengths and super strengths, and Forest will be no different. But we will be aware of that, of course, and they've got a good points return so far. But we are going in the game just really focused on ourselves and the impact that we can have. And I think that's what's give us our best moments so far in all the games that we've played, is when we've been good at being us. And that's always going to be our main intention.
And just finally, I know you mentioned you'll be focused on your strengths. You mentioned the strengths Forest have had. What do you think those strengths in particular have been? Is it the defence with the conditioner, or do you think it's kind of
well, obviously, with Chris Wood is a goal scorer, current goal scorer in the team, and to get that you need to create chances for him, and they're good attacking players as well, and athleticism. So yeah, we're aware of all of that, but I repeat, whatever team you play in the Premier League, you can always see what they do well. But you've got to back yourself to do better than the opponent, and that will be no different on Friday. It's a great game to look forward to.
Thank you.
You too, Dan.
Next time we'll go to Damien from PLP.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Damien.
Hi, Steve. Obviously it's a home game, but it's against your former club. We know about the success you had there. What's it going to be like for you facing
We did all that in the summer. It's just now all about the work with the club here and the players here, and doesn't matter who we play now. That's completely where my focus is, and that's enough to consume me and my mind and the staff's mind, and from reviewing the game on the weekend on what we did well and how we get better, and taking it into the game plan for Friday is enough to think about. And people that know me will know that I completely stay on task with the job that I do, and don't let anything interfere with that, and that's the same this week.
Abdul Fatawu,
Yeah.
the headlines obviously of the weekend changed the momentum of the game. You've spoken in glowing terms of him in the past. What has he got to improve in his game to become a proper?
Well, yeah, I mean he did do great on the weekend, and it's probably the best he's shown in the Premier League so far. So it was great to see. We know we can reach that level of performance, but it was great to see it probably for the real first time in the Premier League. We'd seen signs of it in some games before, and we definitely see it in training. So he took his opportunity really well. There's no doubt about that, and I agree with you. He helped change the momentum of the game. He wasn't on his own, but he definitely was a main influence in that. So it's about him understanding what he did well and why he did well, and trying to repeat when he's given another opportunity. And really, that's what you want with young players. You want to give them opportunities, but it's giving opportunities. Players have also got to take it as well. They got to perform. So he did that, and we was pleased to see, because we love working with him and we see the talent, the potential that he has. But it is a step up to the Premier League, and sometimes you need something like the weekend to maybe kickstart, and sometimes you can do it quicker than that. But he's a big part of our culture here. He's for a young boy, such a happy lad, and he works hard, and he's very popular both with players and staff, and we're really enjoying working with him, and hopefully he can continue to progress and take opportunities like he did on the weekend, because like I said, that was the best we've seen him in this season for sure.
How much of a dilemma do you face in team selection?
Yeah, big one. Yeah.
Throw in the finishing 11, they'll do the job, but I guess it's not as simple as that.
No, and it isn't. I wish it was as simple as that, but I think every week, respectfully, I'll get asked about. I think last week it might have been Winks and someone else, and then the week before that it would be, and I get that. That's just the nature of selection and performance and results and all that sort of thing. But the reality is, you need a squad now. Definitely in the Premier League, it's more than a sort of 11-man game. That's with the 5 subs and the length of games and the level that these guys are expected to perform at week in, week out. You know, there needs to be competition for places. You know, if you haven't got competition, then I think it's a dangerous game, because that's when complacency can kick in, and sometimes it's about bringing players out of the team as well, when one, maybe they've not played so well, or they need to come away just to take a deep breath before you put them back in, especially the younger players. So it's just the nature of the job, Damien, that there's always going to be, you know, players on the wrong side of selection that will create questions from you guys, but that's, you know, that's part of the job, and I respect that. Thanks, Dave. You too.
Go to Jason from Talksport, please.
Hi, Jace. Hey, mate. How are you? You all right?
Undefeated 5. You've scored in, I think, every game this season in the Premier League. 8 games, 9 points. Are you where you're expected to be at this stage?
Oh, I always want more. You know, I think if I said yes, then I think that would be the wrong mentality. What I can say is that I feel that we are improving all the time. You know, this gives me an opportunity to sort of speak and say how hard everybody is working and how committed to the plan they are, how together they are. It's only a match day, really, that you see, or not just you, everybody, the supporters sees what we're trying to do, and sometimes you get it right and sometimes you don't. And at this level, it's hard to get it right, you know, a lot of the time. But that's what we're striving to be. So, you know, we are very aware of some of the good things that we're doing. And I even thought that when, you know, a few weeks ago when we hadn't won a game and questions were different, and so they should be, because that's the world that we're in. And nobody will accept that more than me. I also knew that we weren't far away from progressing a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more. So I feel we're on the right path. But to go back to your question, we want more. You know, we want more, and there's definitely more to give. So it's great to win the last 2 games. We see a lot of good in the performances, but we also see a lot that, you know, we're pushing the guys on. This is how we need to improve, and this is how we get better. But the best thing about that is they're so open-minded to learning and taking it on board and taking the challenge. That gives you the best opportunity to have that continued progress. So we hope that, you know, that continues. But there'll be ups and there'll be downs, and there'll be times I'll be sitting there after the back end of difficult moments, and I accept that. Actually makes me better and makes me work harder. But while all of whatever's going on, we just got to really believe in who we are, what we do, who we represent, and bring it out on match days.
It's one of the things to improve on, perhaps how you start games this season. I mean, I've had a look through it. I mean, Palace away, Bournemouth away, you started one of those.
I don't disagree with you. No, I don't disagree with you. And like I've said, you know, and I will continue to say, to give yourselves the best chance of winning a game at this level, you have to do more or less everything right, and it's how you start games, how you finish. So yeah, you know, I'm not disagreeing with your opinion really on it, but I'm also not going to make it too much of an issue, because you know it's always the intention to start games well. You know, we've just got to make sure that we commit to doing that better. While other things as well that we're aiming to improve on, but no, I think that's more than a fair question.
You're scoring goals, you're still conceding. The perception amongst fans is that quite a few goals are coming down that right-hand side, your right-hand side, 1 or 2 at the weekend. What do you put that down to?
It was definitely a team thing, you know. So it's and we never go down the line of. Although we push individuals and we want a challenging environment, we'll do everything as togetherness. But again, you know, that's something we're aware of. And you've been in our meetings? something that we're aware of, and something that, you know, I keep saying there's some things we feel like we're doing well, and is getting even better, and some things that we know we need to improve on, and we'll face up to all of them things, and that's the challenge, isn't it? That's the challenge of performance.
You talk about it being a team performance, a team game. Again, amongst fans, they'll talk about James Justin and maybe Ricardo Pereira, the battle between those two to start the game. Do you understand where they're coming from on that, though?
In what way?
Whether Ricardo should start, say, over James Justin.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You know, you want that. To fans, it'll be debate and opinion, and sometimes frustrations or sometimes agreement. But we also go through that as well with team selections. If you go to Damien's question, there's always a question to be asked. So it's just the nature of performance and reflection and taking it into the next game. What I do know is if every position would be as strong as Ricardo and JJ fighting it out, then, you know, we'll be in a good place. We all need to embrace that.
Final one from me. You worked for quite a vocal owner up the road at Nottingham Forest. It's a little bit quieter here, certainly publicly. Have you found the differences between the two?
Well, I think the most important question to ask about ownership this weekend is that it's the anniversary of the really sad story that happened six years ago. So that's only where I think everybody's mindset should be if we want to talk about ownership. I got asked a couple of weeks ago about my relationship here with the owner, and I can only speak as I've found so far, and I sort of summed it up by saying I can see why this club has had the success that it's had under the ownership, because they make you feel like you want to do well, and they do it through support and kindness, really, and encouragement. So that's the most important thing this weekend when it comes to ownership, and we'll be paying our respects as a club on Sunday, and rightly so, and it'll be important to me to be part of that in my current position, and that's where the only thing should be, really, when it comes to ownership this weekend.
Thanks, Jason.
You too, mate.
We'll go to Owen from Radio Leicester.
Thank you very much. Hi, Steve. Good to see you.
You too, mate.
That's about wins you've spoken a little bit about already over the last few weeks. How important, I guess, has that been for the confidence and belief from a player's perspective?
Yeah, because I think it you know, like I said, we can feel like we're doing, you know, some good things, and we can feel like, you know, we're getting better. But the biggest indicator of that and the biggest sign of that is results, and then obviously performances as well. And like I said, on them results, I think we've deserved them, because we played really well against Bournemouth in the first half and showed a good side in the second half. You know, Bournemouth, we've seen Bournemouth win some. You know, even the last game they played, we've seen how good a team they can be, and now that team has evolved over time, being in the league, and the investment that's gone into it. So it was a good win, that. And obviously, like I said in the weekend, I thought, to repeat myself, you know, we started the game poorly, but we, apart from that, we were by far the better team, superior team, and everything backed that up, including what you saw live. So, but to go to your question, all of that just adds to belief and confidence in what we're doing, and just helps you progress and go to the next step.
You talked about a longer term plan and vision and how you wanted the team to play, and that was going to take a while for it to set in eventually. I wonder that, based on those two results, whether you have seen strides in training in what you wanted to see and that continued progression. Is that a result of that kind of thing?
I think yes is the obvious answer, but also I'm not going to be. I've not sat in these in any meeting or whether it's with media or with the coaching team or wherever, and after a game and just based it on the result. You know, there's some losses that we've had this year where, you know, I've been really disappointed with some of the things we've done, but I've also gone that was good. And the same goes with the last 2 wins. You know, I've quite openly will say we've done a lot of good things in the game, but I'm really want to be really clear and say there's still loads that we are wanting to develop in our game and get better at, because it is obviously about each game that you play and the competition of that game, but it's becoming a team that succeeds over a course of time in the Premier League, and to do that you have to really get up to speed in the Premier League and do it in the way that you want to do, and we're on that journey, but we're making good strides. We feel like we're in a good place, and we're so committed now to going 3 wins in a row.
And that obviously would come potentially on Friday evening, and a win on Friday night could take you as high as 9th in the Premier League table, into the top half. And whilst it's still very early days, I mean that I guess is a real sign of progression from what we saw at the start of the season. That must be pleasing.
Yeah, well, it is in points, isn't it? Of course, and that will always be the most important thing. But yeah, it's just a continuation of what we want to become. But wins and league positions and all of them sort of stuff helps the process. But you've got to earn that, And the beauty of all of this is we're in control of it. How we play on the weekend, how we play in the game after. How we prepare today and tomorrow, both here and away from here. When players are doing their sort of own thing in terms of their preparation, that's all in our control. So we've got to harness that and maximise it, and give ourselves the best chance of being at the level we want to be at, in the next game, which is Friday.
Is this the perfect kind of game to play after back-to-back wins, an East Midlands derby under the lights at home?
I think it's a perfect game. If it was the first or last game of the season after any sort of form, it's these are games that you want to be part of, you want to take advantage of, not fear. The Premier League is the biggest stage, and then when it's a Friday night game or a Monday night game, it seems an even bigger stage because of the sort of the only game on that day and the media attention and things like that. But the big stage is one you want to be on and one you want to shine on. So to do that, you've really got to not fear it. You've got to show who you are, back yourself, and believe that you and players belong there. And Friday can be a great show for that. You too, mate. You too. Thank you.
We'll go to Charlie from BBC's Mids.
Ciao.
I asked this question, Steve, just because you have such a special bond with them. How do you think you'll be received by the Forest fans?
I've not thought about it. We did all that in the summer. This is just about the game. This is just about the game. This is just about the players that we're working with, and the staff, and getting ready for what, like the question with Owen before, really, exciting game, and a stage Friday night under lights, live on TV. This is why, I've been coaching a million sessions in my career, and this is why players have played a million games, and everybody else around the team. This is this is why the team fought so hard last year, to get back in the Premier League, and the same will be for the opponents as well, with Forest in this game. So that's just where our focus, or my focus, is. There's no time to think about anything else, and I don't want to think about anything else, because the moment that you're not 100% committed and focused to the job in hand is the moment at this level you get punished. So that's where my mindset is.
So take everything out of it then. What kind of football game are you expecting?
Well, you right, oh? Yeah. Drop the mic there, mate, didn't you? Sorry, what kind of...
Football, take all the emotion out of there. All the extra narrative. Yeah,
well, both teams have got exciting players and players that can make a difference in attack, and good athleticism in both teams. So it could be a fast game. We want the game to look like how we want to play, and we want that to be the dominant influence in the game, and that's our intention. And it looks a lot like the second half, particularly the other day at Southampton, and large parts of the first half against Bournemouth. If we can do that for the best spells in the games, then that gives us the best chance, and that's where we've got to be. But at the same time, we understand that their strengths as well, and where they look to make a difference, and we've got to make sure we we manage that with our out of possession game as well.
I listened to your coaching counterpart, albeit from a different sport, across the other side, well, not even across the other side of the city, Michael Checker.
Yeah, spoke to him last night, yeah.
Well, that's interesting because he just had an East Midlands derby a week or two ago against Northampton Saints, and in the lead up to it, he really lent into the passion and the fury that a derby match can bring. Are you keen to do something similar? What sort of stuff did you talk to him about?
Well, that's private, you nosy bugger, but it's... no, I've spoken to him a few times, to be fair, because it's an obvious thing to do, and we're part of a similar sort of leadership thing that we do. And he's got great experience, and I've really enjoyed the conversations with him. But yeah, regardless of that, and you know, it comes out naturally in derby games more than others, whether it's on the field, off the field, you know, the build up, the natural sort of rivalries that derbies games give. It's recognising that, but really sort of understanding how you want to perform and how we as a team can make the atmosphere be as we want it to be, and to have the influence on the game that we want it to be, because there's no better time to do them things than in derby games, you know. So it's about recognising it, but at the same time knowing how you can make it go the way you want it to go. That's always the motivation for derby games. We're fully aware of that. I don't need to go screaming it in a press conference. It's inside there that we need to talk about it the most, but more importantly, then show it on Friday. You too. Thank you.
Charlie. Okay, guys, we'll wrap up the broadcast section there. Turn the cameras off, and we'll start with